For nearly 5 decades, Graceland stood frozen in time, honoring Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll.
Elvis Presley spent most of his life in the spotlight, yet some of his greatest mysteries have always existed behind closed doors. For decades, fans have wondered what really happened inside Graceland during the king's final years. Countless rumors have surrounded the mansion, its hidden rooms, and especially the attic that few people ever had permission to enter. Stories of forgotten belongings, secret documents, and mysterious discoveries have circulated for generations, becoming part of Elvis mythology. Recently, renewed interest in Graceland and a series of legal battles over the estate have brought those old questions back into public conversation. Some headlines even suggested that after nearly half a century, Elvis's attic had finally been opened, sparking a wave of speculation across the internet. But separating fact from fiction is never easy when it comes to one of the most famous entertainers who ever lived. Before examining what people claim was found inside that legendary attic, it's important to understand why Graceland became far more than just a home. It became a symbol of fame, fortune, family, and tragedy all wrapped into one unforgettable place. When Elvis purchased Graceland in 1957, he wasn't simply buying a mansion. He was creating a sanctuary where he could escape screaming fans, demanding schedules, and the constant pressure of being the world's biggest rock and roll star. At just 22 years old, Elvis had already transformed popular music forever, and Graceland became the one place where he hoped life could feel normal. Over the years, he filled the mansion with unusual decorations, custom furniture, expensive gifts, and deeply personal keepsakes collected throughout his remarkable career. Every room reflected another chapter of his life, from his rise to superstardom to the private struggles that few outsiders truly understood. Yet among all the rooms in the house, none captured people's imagination quite like the attic. Unlike the famous jungle room or the music room visited by thousands of tourists every year, the attic remained largely untouched and inaccessible. Employees rarely discussed it, visitors never saw it, and family members treated it as one of the home's most private spaces. That secrecy allowed rumors to grow larger with every passing decade. Some believed priceless treasures were hidden there. Others imagined unreleased recordings, confidential letters, or deeply personal diaries waiting to be discovered. None of those stories were ever confirmed, but mystery has a way of surviving even without evidence. Following Elvis's death on August 16, 1977, Graceland entered one of the most uncertain periods in its history. His sudden passing shocked the world, leaving millions of fans struggling to accept that the king of rock and roll was gone. While public mourning filled newspapers and television broadcasts, private challenges quickly emerged behind the mansion's gates. Maintaining Graceland was incredibly expensive, and the estate faced serious financial pressure in the years that followed. After Vernon Presley died in 1979, responsibility gradually shifted toward preserving Elvis's legacy for future generations. Eventually, under Priscilla Presley's leadership, Graceland opened to the public in 1982, transforming what had become a financial burden into one of America's most visited homes. That decision not only saved the property but also ensured that Elvis's story would continue long after his music first dominated the charts. As millions of visitors toured Graceland over the following decades, they naturally wondered whether every corner of the mansion had been revealed. Guides showed bedrooms, living areas, trophy rooms, and countless personal belongings. Yet certain locations remained off-limits. Those restricted spaces fueled endless speculation online and in documentaries. The attic became almost mythical, with some fans convinced that remarkable discoveries were only waiting for permission to be revealed. Then came another twist that reignited worldwide interest. After the death of Lisa Marie Presley in 2023, Graceland unexpectedly found itself at the center of a legal storm. A company claimed that Lisa Marie had used the mansion as collateral for a multimillion-dollar loan and that the debt had never been repaid. If true, Graceland itself could have been sold. The possibility shocked Elvis fans across the globe. His granddaughter, Riley Keough, quickly challenged the claim in court, arguing that the documents supporting the alleged loan were fraudulent. As investigators examined the paperwork, serious questions emerged about forged signatures and fabricated records. A judge ultimately blocked the proposed foreclosure, protecting Graceland from being auctioned away while authorities continued investigating the alleged scheme. Later criminal proceedings concluded that the attempted seizure was part of an elaborate fraud rather than a legitimate financial dispute. The courtroom drama reminded everyone that Graceland remains far more than a tourist attraction. It represents one of the most recognizable celebrity estates in American history, carrying enormous emotional and financial value. Every legal headline generated fresh public curiosity, encouraging countless videos and articles to revisit old mysteries surrounding the mansion. Suddenly, stories about hidden rooms, unopened storage areas, and the famous attic spread across social media once again. Some creators claimed extraordinary discoveries had finally been made, while others connected those supposed findings to Elvis's final months of life. The combination of genuine legal news and decades-old rumors created the perfect environment for sensational speculation. Yet historians repeatedly caution that many of these viral stories mix verified facts with dramatic imagination. What remains true is that Elvis's last years were marked by declining health, exhausting work schedules, and increasing dependence on prescription medications provided by multiple physicians. Those medical realities have been extensively documented over the years and continue to shape discussions about his final days. Official investigations concluded that his death involved heart failure complicated by multiple health conditions and the presence of numerous prescription drugs, although debate over the precise contributing factors has never completely disappeared. Even today, documentaries continue revisiting medical records, witness testimony, and expert opinions in an effort to better understand what happened inside Graceland during those final hours. As fascination with Elvis's final chapter continues, every object associated with him seems to acquire almost mythical importance. Fans often imagine that somewhere inside Graceland lies one forgotten clue capable of answering questions that have lingered for nearly 50 years. Whether it's an old photograph, handwritten note, medical file, or personal keepsake, people remain convinced that history still has secrets left to reveal. That belief explains why stories about the attic refuse to disappear, regardless of how much time has passed. The mystery isn't really about a single room above the mansion. It's about humanity's desire to believe that even after decades of investigation, history can still surprise us. And as more attention focuses on Elvis's private life rather than his public performances, those forgotten spaces become symbols of unanswered questions instead of simple storage areas. In the next part, we'll explore the medical revelations that continue fueling debate about Elvis Presley's final days, examine what investigators and former insiders have claimed over the years, and separate documented evidence from the legends that have grown around one of music's greatest icons. In the decades since Elvis Presley's passing, countless books, documentaries, and interviews have attempted to reconstruct exactly what happened during the final chapter of his life. Every new publication seems to promise the missing piece of the puzzle, yet the deeper researchers dig, the more complicated the story becomes. What is beyond dispute is that the man who once seemed larger than life was quietly battling a long list of serious health problems behind the walls of Graceland. Years of relentless touring, demanding film schedules, chronic pain, and dependence on prescription medications had taken an enormous toll on his body. Friends who visited him during the mid-1970s described moments when Elvis appeared energetic and full of humor, only to seem exhausted and withdrawn hours later. Those dramatic swings fueled concern among people closest to him, although few imagined just how fragile his condition had become. Despite repeated warnings from some medical professionals, Elvis continued performing because entertaining his fans had always been central to his identity. Even when he struggled physically, canceling concerts was something he tried to avoid whenever possible. On the morning of August 16, 1977, that long and difficult battle reached its tragic conclusion. Elvis was found unresponsive inside Graceland and was rushed to the hospital, where doctors were unable to revive him. News of his death spread around the world with astonishing speed. Radio stations interrupted regular programming, television networks broke into scheduled broadcasts, and millions of fans gathered outside Graceland in disbelief. For many people, it seemed impossible that someone so iconic could be gone at just 42 years old. Almost immediately, questions began to circulate. How could a performer who had recently been planning future concerts die so suddenly? Was it simply a heart attack? Or was there something more complicated hidden beneath the headlines? Those questions have remained part of Elvis's story ever since. Over the years, additional medical information gradually became public through investigative reporting, biographies, and interviews with physicians familiar with the case. Rather than pointing to a single cause, many experts concluded that Elvis's death resulted from a combination of serious health conditions. He reportedly suffered from high blood pressure, digestive disorders, enlarged organs, chronic pain, and cardiovascular problems. Prescription medications also played a significant role in the discussion. It is important to understand that these medications had been legally prescribed, but concerns later emerged about the quantity and combination involved. Medical experts have continued debating the extent to which those prescriptions contributed to his declining health. Yet the broader picture is one of a body already under tremendous strain long before that final day. Adding another layer to the mystery were later claims from researchers who suggested Elvis may have been living with genetic health conditions that had gone undiagnosed for years. Some specialists argued that several members of the Presley family experienced similar medical issues, raising the possibility of inherited disorders affecting multiple body systems. While these theories cannot answer every question, they shifted part of the conversation away from sensational rumors and toward a more complex medical explanation. Instead of viewing Elvis solely as a victim of fame or prescription drugs, many historians now describe him as someone facing a combination of chronic illnesses that modern medicine might have recognized and treated differently today. As public understanding evolved, Graceland itself transformed into something far greater than a celebrity home. Every room became a snapshot of Elvis's private world. Visitors walking through the mansion often notice how personal everything feels. The living room, the music room, the famous jungle room, and the trophy displays all preserve the atmosphere of the late 1970s, almost as though time stopped the moment Elvis was gone. Yet despite the extraordinary access offered to visitors, certain areas remain closed for practical and preservation reasons. Those restricted spaces continue to inspire speculation online, particularly stories involving the attic. Claims that the attic was dramatically opened after 48 years often spread rapidly across social media, accompanied by dramatic thumbnails and sensational headlines. Some videos suggest investigators uncovered hidden journals. Others claim long-lost recordings, secret photographs, forgotten relatives, or shocking evidence connected to Elvis's final days. However, none of these extraordinary claims have been supported by credible historical evidence. In reality, Graceland has carefully preserved many of Elvis's personal belongings for archival purposes, and estate historians continue cataloging artifacts to protect them for future generations. Like many historic homes, storage areas exist, but there has never been verified confirmation of a sensational discovery matching the wild stories shared online. So why do these rumors continue to attract millions of viewers? The answer lies partly in Elvis himself. Few celebrities have inspired the same level of fascination across multiple generations. His music changed popular culture, his image became instantly recognizable around the world, and his personal life remained surrounded by mystery. Whenever information about Graceland surfaces, whether it involves renovations, auctions, family matters, or legal disputes, public imagination immediately fills in the gaps. A simple maintenance project can become an internet legend within hours. An old storage room becomes a secret chamber. A routine inventory becomes a hidden discovery. The combination of nostalgia and curiosity keeps these stories alive, even when evidence tells a far less dramatic story. The recent legal battle surrounding Graceland demonstrated exactly how quickly public attention returns to the Presley estate. Headlines suggesting the mansion could be lost created widespread concern among fans, but the case ultimately reinforced the importance of protecting Elvis's legacy from fraudulent claims. Keough's successful effort to defend the property ensured that Graceland would remain connected to the Presley family and continue operating as one of America's most significant cultural landmarks. That victory also reminded many people that preserving history requires constant effort, not only against the passage of time but also against misinformation and exploitation. Perhaps the greatest mystery surrounding Elvis was never hidden inside an attic at all. it was hidden behind the smile scene on stage. Audiences witnessed confidence, charisma, and unmatched talent, while those closest to him increasingly saw exhaustion, declining health, and the pressures that accompanied extraordinary fame. Like many legendary performers, Elvis devoted so much of himself to entertaining others that his own struggles often remained invisible until it was too late. His story serves as a reminder that fame cannot protect anyone from illness, stress, or the consequences of years spent pushing beyond physical limits. Today, nearly 5 decades after his passing, Graceland welcomes visitors from every corner of the world. Some come to celebrate the music that changed their lives. Others come hoping to feel a connection with the man behind the legend. Many arrive carrying questions that may never receive complete answers. They leave flowers by his grave, admire the gold records, walk through the rooms where history unfolded, and reflect on a career unlike any other. The mansion has become more than a museum. It is a place where memories, myths, and documented history exist side by side. The enduring fascination with Elvis proves that true legends never completely disappear. Every generation rediscovers his songs, revisits his films, and re-examines the events surrounding his remarkable life. While sensational headlines may promise shocking secrets hidden inside forgotten rooms, the real story is ultimately far more human. It is the story of an extraordinary artist whose talent reshaped music forever, whose private battles remained largely unseen, and whose legacy continues to inspire millions around the globe. The attic may symbolize unanswered questions, but the greatest treasure Graceland has ever protected is not a hidden object or a forgotten document. It is the memory of Elvis Presley himself, a performer whose voice still echoes through history, reminding the world why he became, and remains, the one and only king of rock and roll.